I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your
Hi, hello, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International, here on the afternoon version of this track here at Watkins Glen, New York, as we get ready to set the grid for tomorrow afternoon's third annual Firecracker at the Glen here at WGI for the first of two Holy Smoked Meets Duels. Getting the first honor up here on the grid are the 30 GT Le Mans cars, ready to see who will represent 21 of the 42 starters here in tomorrow afternoon's 250-mile, 73-lap race here on America's 250th birthday. We're going to cut right to the chase. Bradley Ream sits on the pole position after posting the fastest time in GT Le Mans qualifying earlier this morning with a 136.611, the fastest of any driver compared to Zachary Fitzwater's 136.668. Fitzwater will start on the outside pole here in row number 1 in the Bass Pro Shops number 62. But of course, Bradley Ream looking for 2 wins in a row. Our most recent GT Le Mans winner earlier this week on Tuesday afternoon up north in Canada. We'll see if that Boston Red Sox car is able to get 2 wins in a row for the second time in GTLM history here in the FMGTC. Row number 2, the middle row of a 6-pack of Corvettes inside the starting 6. You've got Reggie Fogelman and defending series champion Mike Vincent Jr. starting 3rd and 4th respectively. Back in row number 3, and starting in 5th is Mateus Bento, starting to his outside to round out the starting 6, the 90 of Angel Gutierrez. Got quite a few Jaguar XKRs back in here in rows 4 and 5. The defending winner of this race here for the GTLM field for the FMGTC at Watkins Glen, the number 3 of John Andrews to the inside of Pedro Sabato, Russell Blaze, Joey Hightower, Roberto Crown Jr., Russell Blaze, Joey Hightower, Bruno Giacomo, and Philip Torres will round out the top 10 starters. We'll get into all the other drivers inside this 30-car grid. We're going to go ahead and send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines for the first of 2 Holy Smoked Meets Duels here for the preamble event for the Firecracker at the Glen.
Drivers, start your engines!
The familiar roar of the GT Le Mans cars firing to life is upon us here at Watkins Glen. And for the first time in 6 months' time, all 30 cars roar to life here at the same time for GTLM. We are getting ready to go underway here in the Holy Smoked Meets qualifying race. Talked about the top 10 in the pre-race show. We'll go ahead and talk about our 23rd starter, the number 59 of Owen Miles, your current points leader. Less than 24 hours removed from his most recent MBCS win, his first Cup win in 142 starts. That hangover resulting in a 23rd place qualifying position for the Holy Smoked Meets GTLM duel. Currently 2 points outside of a transfer spot. That last one currently being held by the Intel 08 Jaguar of Emily York Watson. Kyle Wood, another driver to watch out for in this 49 machine. Currently 3rd in the championship battle. A couple of points behind Bradley Ream, who's currently 2nd, but sits on the pole position. Mateus Bento and Chris Harvey both start in 5th and in 17th, with Harvey starting in the 17th spot in the U.S. Army Black Knights 8 machine. The field was somehow able to make it through the bus stop under speed at 80 miles an hour. We'll tack on about 100 more miles an hour to that. The next time they'll be going through the bus stop, and we'll see if all 30 cars will make it through. We don't know if these guys are going to be able to make it through the opening set of corners. That's how hungry these drivers are. We have never had a qualifying race here at Watkins Glen of this magnitude, and especially everybody wants to make tomorrow's race. We had a little bit of a jam up in the back there, but we should be good to go. No drivers have damage, but everybody wants to make this race. It is America's 250th birthday tomorrow. Biggest celebration of Americana since 1776, or 1996, or 1976, I should say. Bradley Ream would love to get his second win of the season. Second win in a row as well, but Zachary Fitzwater, the most recent winner here at Watkins Glen International, won on Mother's Day weekend here for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series in dominating fashion. We'll have to see if that will trickle over to a good run here in the qualifying race for GT Le Mans, but they're going to have 25 laps to try and figure things out here at Watkins Glen International. Pace cars down the pit lane. They head off towards the Reese's restart zone for the opening time under speed, awaiting the green flag to wave in the Finger Lakes air. Here we go, the first of two. Holy Smoke meets Duels is underway from Watkins Glen International. Bradley Ream goes wide off the corner. Sarah Taylor into the Bobby Dale Earnhardt Memorial corner. Trouble in the back, several cars around. Kyle Wood was the first one to break sideways. Riley Sampson caught up a little bit. He was slowed down. Owen Miles, doesn't look like there's any damage on your current points leader. We talked about we didn't know if they were going to even make one corner here today. Here we go through the bus stop for the first time under speed. Everybody trying to gingerly drive their way through. Don't want to say anything until that last car will come through there, being represented by the 07 of Taylor Lay, who was spun around. By far the biggest loser in that opening lap crash, Sarah Taylor, who went right into the turn one tire barriers. And that will likely end her ambitions of potentially making the race here as the field is off through the toe for the opening time under speed. Zachary Fitzwater did not get a good start to this race, and he has fallen deeply after starting in second. And he's going to fall all the way down into the 7th spot right now as the field will go through turn number 8, swinging wide off the corner. Eric Monaco nearly getting in the tire barriers. Owen Miles just about did. It's going to cost him some time in the 59, but he should be no worse for wear. Through turns 10 and 11. Bradley Ream, first one through Taco Bell turn 11, under speed. Zachary Fitzwater falling all the way back, and we'll see who is going to get that final transfer spot for the time being. I believe Emily York Watson rose up quite a few spots, survey says, as they cross the start-finish line. York Watson currently in 19th, moving underneath the two of Eric Monaco for 18th. Last one in, the 54 of Michael Lewis is under fire from Brace Egan Safety Clean 16 machine. Owen Miles still 2 positions back. Net 0 on that opening lap. It will remain in 23rd. Sarah Taylor, still no sign of her, and off track, Mike Vincent Jr. cutting his way through the course to take that second spot away. Actually, he's going to remain in second. Reggie Fogelman might lose third here to Mateus Bento. Fogelman will have the advantage through the corner, going driver's left. Bento's going to have the inside advantage the next 2 turns, however, in that 20 machine, a couple of right-handers, and he's on driver's right now. Not able to get the run off the corner coming out of turn 7. Bradley Ream will hold on for the time being. Sarah Taylor back out in the race. After a tough start to this event, you'll take a look at the replay of what happened. Kyle Wood also was involved in that accident, not what the 49 car wants to see. He will be currently deep in the grid, still needing some more trouble to happen. Good news for those 2 drivers. We've got plenty of time for trouble to kick off. It's 25 laps around this 3.5 mile road course. Like we said, everybody's got to make at least one 4-tire pit stop for some fresh BF Goodrich tires. We expect those to be at around the 10 to 12 lap to go mark, so we should see these drivers split this race in half. Sarah Taylor did not take 4 tires, so she is going to have to come back down the pit lane after receiving that damage. That's going to put her even further behind the 8 ball. Speaking of behind the 8 ball, Zachary Fitzwater, he lost a lot of spots on that opening lap. I don't know if he got into the grass or into the wall or anything. I don't see any damage on that Bass Pro Shops Corvette. And for the race lead, Mike Vincent Jr. to the inside of the 40 of Bradley Ream. Mateus Bento not able to grab that position away from Reggie Fogelman. We'll see if the 78 can. Ream going to remain on the inside lane. And what a run there for the 78 through the bus stop. And Mike Vincent Jr., defending series champion in that Champion Black & Decker JRI Shock 78 car. Will go for the race lead, and Bradley Ream trying to get it right back as everybody will swing off the turn 8 turn. Right now, still with the final transfer spot, the 16 of Bryce Egan. Currently running in 21st, and we'll check and see where Owen Miles will be running as well in that 22nd spot the longer this race goes on. Thought I saw one car sideways. Bruno Giacomo just about gets into the Taco Bell turn 11, nearly bonged off the corner. Bryce Egan has a run to the inside of the 5 of Caleb Rose. Will think better of it going through the 90 in this heavy braking zone. All 30 cars remain on track for the time being. Sarah Taylor, Taylor Lay, Kyle Wood, way off the pace of everybody else. Taylor 1 minute behind the leader of Vincent Jr. Currently in 30th, the way things run. Oh, and Bradley Ream runs right in the back of the 78, and the two leaders pile drive one another coming out of the bus stop. Mike Vincent Jr. checked up coming out of the bus stop. Ream had no time to react, and that Boston Red Sox Corvette absolutely destroyed. Oh my stars. That is likely going to be the end of the road for potentially 2 wins in a row for Bradley Ream. That right now does put Owen Miles in a spot to make the race tomorrow. What a tough break for Bradley Ream. Was only 9 points out of the championship coming into this weekend. And if Owen Miles does in fact make the show and does well, that is going to be a rough pill to swallow for that Boston Red Sox team. Looks like in all likelihood they will not make the dance tomorrow. I believe Mike Vincent Jr. is going to remain out on track, but he has got a really beat up rear end of that 78, and Reggie Fogelman putting the chrome horn on the back end of that Chevy Corvette. He's trying to maneuver to the inside of Mike Vincent Jr. Mike Vincent just does not have any downforce whatsoever. He is going to lose the race lead. He might lose second, and Mateus Bento gets greedy going into the bus stop. This could get dicey going in through the inner loop. Bento's not going to poke down to the inside. Vincent Jr., he's going to go into the wall. And same thing with Mateus Bento. He did get greedy. And the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad luck for Mateus Bento extends into the GTL Lem ranks. He has had nothing but rotten luck in the NBCS as of late. Was trying to get too cute to the inside of Mike Vincent Jr., and that will result in those two joining Bradley Ream in the garage area. So both drivers that started on the front row of this event will end up on a wrecker. That is just not what you want for those drivers. We had a feeling that was going to transpire. We'll take a look and see what happened, even though we saw it live. My goodness. Bento just a little too aggressive. And that will result in him not making the dance for tomorrow afternoon's 250-mile event. And again, we talk about it a ton. As speaking of this storyline, Kyle Wood down the pit lane. I believe he and Roberto Crown Jr. may have gotten together. This is exactly what Sarah Taylor needs, though. She's currently still pretty well far out of a spot right now. She's going to be running in 29th this next time by. She'll gain at least 2 more spots to raise up to 27th. She needs a couple more of these drivers to have some issues. Look at how much Angel Gutierrez gained on the back end of the 11. We're noticing that not a lot of these drivers are very confident coming out of the bus stop. It's Kyle Wood off of the pit lane. Did he take... He gets into the wall a little bit coming off the pit lane, and he just did repair some damage. So Wood is going to have to come down at least one more time in this race. Those two that got into the tire wall still being towed back to the pit lane, and we got some cars going wide, nearly off into the tire barriers. So want some tire tracks as some drivers have gone out of the tire barriers, and meanwhile, last car in the transfer spot, Riley Sampson. The last car in the race, Sarah Taylor, currently one lap down, just trying to putter her way around in that 45 car. No retirements just yet for the 20 or the 78. Of course, both those cars pretty beat up. Here on lap number 7 of the event, the 7 and the 2 cars nearly get together going through the 90. That was Kasumi Takashi and Eric Monaco nearly breaking sideways with one another. Again, if you're in the top 21 right now, the last thing you want to do is get as aggressive as some of these drivers have been getting here. Again, as Zachary Fitzwater and Angel Gutierrez not proving that point well. Fitzy losing a lot of time on the inside. And we're seeing not a whole lot of these drivers very confident with coming out of that bus stop despite the amount of downforce that these cars have. We saw it there. Fitzwater is going to lose a lot more time. He was in 4th at the time, and he's going to drop down into the 6th position. How about John Andrews? Started in 7th. 7 laps later, found himself plus 6 positions, and he's right behind Reggie Fogelman. But again, you don't want to get aggressive, overdrive these corners. Unfortunately, that's the line that these drivers are really running right now, especially wide off of turn 8. Nearly getting into that tire barrier, but everybody will remain. So far, so good. Roberto Crown Jr. back on track. He is just on the tail end of the lead lap, the last car on the lead lap, and Sarah Taylor has moved up into the 27th position. It's Mike Vincent Jr. and Mateus Bento officially out of the race. Of course, when Bradley Ream ran into the back end of the 78, again, there was nothing that Bradley could do, and that's worst possible case scenario for him. He's only going to get 2 points out of this entire weekend. Despite sitting on the pole position for the qualifier, he will get 30th place points. Going back around through here, there's Fogelman still showing the lead right now, and Kyle Wood, despite having his damage, has the fastest lap of 136.354. That would not mean anything until tomorrow, where you get bonus points for running the fastest lap and, of course, the fastest 4-tire pit stop. Fitzwater has stagnated his spot as of right now. Same thing with Russell Blaze. It looks like things have calmed down a little bit as everybody has been strung out running single file for the most part here. 3 cars out of the race. 26 cars on the lead lap as Sarah Taylor, like we talked about, has picked up a couple of spots. Still running around here is that 11 car, but you take a look at the gallery of drivers that are up inside this top 5. Reggie Fogelman, who has really struggled to make races this season so far. Same thing with John Andrews. Pedro Sabato, it took him 3 months to finally make a race at round 3 as Angel Gutierrez goes off track. Gutierrez, another driver that has really struggled so far this season. Again, you got to go back to Zachary Fitzwater. Not even Zachary Fitzwater. You got to go back into the 8th spot for this 8 car of Bryce Egan, Chris Harvey, I should say. Bryce Egan drove this car last year, and 2 years ago, this car was driven in victory lane here at Watkins Glen by Jaden Russell, back in the first ever running of the Firecracker at the Glen. But currently, the way things are running right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Harvey gain in a lot on Owen Miles. Still a lot of time to go in this qualifying event. And we have no idea what's going to happen the 250 miles that we're going to see tomorrow afternoon here at Watkins Glen International. It's going to be not quite a gong show tomorrow. Again, you put 42 cars on a track, 21 of them for each class. We've seen in the past this race has turned into a little bit of a gong show, and it has. Pedro Sabato around. Joey Hightower runs into the 64, trying to grab a gear. Is that Eaton Jaguar XKR? And he will file back in line right in front of Kasumi Takashi. Back in 13th. And how much damage is going to be on that 64? Is he going to get the meatball this next time by to come down the pit lane? He is not. Joey Hightower will pull the trigger to come down the pit lane, however. That is a very interesting call for Hightower. Again, he did run into that 64, so that's why that Jaguar Factory 27 will come down the pit lane. He might have some mortal damage. Lacey Fogelman and the 36 of Riley Sampson banging fenders coming off the 90. And it looks like they're just going to repair that 27. You know what? With 15 laps to go, this next time by with 16 to go, you might as well put on 4 BF Goodrich tires and get your pit stop out of the way. And these guys, tomorrow afternoon, we'll see pit stops in around the 29 to 30 lap range. So it should be just a 2 set of pit stops. And now, Russell Blaze, Angel Gutierrez with damage. I believe they got together coming out of the bus stop. Some heavy damage on both those drivers, and they're holding up a lot of cars back in here. Somehow, Pedro Sabato did not lose a whole lot of time in the world. He did fall down to 13th, now up to 12th with Joey Hightower pitting, but he has been passed a lot, and last car in the transfer spot right now as Riley Sampson nearly into the pit wall, in the tire wall. Sampson in the 36. Trying to maneuver his way around, but that 64 very slow. Wide off the corner. He and Bryce Egan just about going sideways. Bryce Egan will get to the inside of that Eaton 64 again. We saw it earlier with Mike Vincent Jr. Now Emily York Watson. What a save out of the 08, but that's going to jam up everybody. Owen Miles and Anthony Joseph run into the 64. Emily York Watson with one of the better saves that you'll see here on the FMGTC. But Joseph and your current points leader of Owen Miles running into issues. That is now 4 drivers inside the top 5 in the point standings having issues inside this qualifying event. Riley Sampson driving wide. He is going to touch the brakes coming out of the bus stop and lose a bit more time. And that is going to really shake up this qualifier. And where the cut line will, in fact, be. Angel Gutierrez, Russell Blaze just holding up all of these drivers back in here. Meanwhile, you go to the leaders. John Andrews try and maneuver to the inside of the 11. Had a Roberto Crown Jr. He came down the pit lane, and a suspension failure for Zachary Fitzwater in the 62. Somewhere on track, there he is. I think he ran into that 86 car. We'll have to see if he'll come down the pit lane, or if any of these drivers will come down the pit lane. We are going to have some takers. The top 3 cars all pitting here before the halfway point of this race. Again, all these drivers required to make 1 set of 4-tire pit stops. I'll come here on lap number 12. Owen Miles also down the pit lane, as he will elect to short pit here. These guys can do about 14 laps on a full tank of gas with the gas tank they've been allotted for this afternoon. Tomorrow they'll be able to do the allotted 25 to 30. Egan, Fitzwater. Fitzwater runs off a little bit wide. He'll touch up the brakes coming out of the bus stop. And this is the battle for the race lead right now. This is the area that you really want to be in when you come down the pit lane. How about Logan Williams? Feel like if we mention him at all, something bad's going to happen, but Williams in that third spot right now, right behind these two leaders. We go on board with a Muscle Milk number 6 machine right now in third. See how beat up the rear end of that 86 of Russell Blaze is. Old Spice winner from Easter weekend goes a little wide off the corner. Fitzwater will have the run on the outside. They're still going to be side by side. Coming off the track. This is going to be really tight going into turn 10. They're still wheel to wheel, door to door. Any of these guys going to come down pit lane. Zachary Fitzwater will. A late entry for Russell Blaze. He is just going to barely get down pit lane. Oh, my Lord. Bryce Egan not going to be able to get down. He just cold clocked the pit wall. A very late pit entry. That'll be the end of the afternoon for that Safety Clean 16 team. Way too hot. Coming into the pit area as everybody will pit here on lap 13 of the race. Good Lord, I cannot believe that Bryce Egan didn't take out anybody else in that melee. James Lawson out and away. Same thing with everybody else getting their 4 fresh BF Goodrich tires. Russell Blaze, remember they've got to repair the rear end damage on that 86. He is going to lose a lot of time on the pit lane. I believe he's going to fall outside of the transfer spot potentially. Couple of cars into the Armco coming off the pit lane like we've seen in the past here at Watkins Glen. Owen Miles trying to grab a gear. And it looks like Reggie Fogelman will get out ahead of everybody. So mental note for the GT Daytona race later. And of course, with the race here tomorrow, these drivers, looks like the undercut will be the way to go in the race. Zachary Fitzwater did get a lap logged lead. He's currently going to be in that 4th spot right now in the 62. Logan Williams right behind him with a really good pit stop. Back to the transfer spot we go. So right now, final car in that transfer spot, Joey Hightower in the 27. It shows him in 22nd right now, but Bryce Egan out of the race. We'll join Mike Vincent Jr., Mateus Bento, and Bradley Ream in the garage area. So Joey Hightower, the way things run right now, would be the final car in the show. Pedro Sabato, very deep off the pace in the 64. Sarah Taylor just needing quite a few more drivers to wreck their way out. But here we are on lap 14. Past the halfway point. In the first of 2 Holy Smoked Meats duels here at Watkins Glen International. And if you love what you're seeing here, oh boy, do we have some more down the pipeline later on for you this afternoon. Coverage immediately following the first of the 2 Holy Smoked Meats duels. Here for the GT Daytona edition of that duel race will be later on in about 30 minutes time. Hearing a little contact in the back, but looks like everybody will remain ramrod straight for the time being. A lot of time lost for Russell Blaze on those repairs, and he is currently in the 18th position. Michael Lewis nearly getting railroaded there by the 59. It looks like cars, and these drivers not really confident with their cars coming out of the bus stop. You know, I think this also just trickles down to a lot of drivers just not wanting to push the envelope until tomorrow. Sarah Taylor has made her one and only 4-tire pit stop. She will likely be 2 laps down as Reggie Fogelman out and away, coming off of the pit lane, a little wide off the pit lane once again for the 45. No harm, no foul. That is already on that car, and Anthony Joseph has brought his Miller High Life 22 back onto the racetrack. Currently, the cars will be going home as Somebody else just came down the pit lane. I'm not sure who it was, because Pedro Sabato is in a transfer spot right now. I don't know if I probably miscounted there with the 16, but no, did somebody else just fell down the order. It may have been Taylor Lay. Actually, you know what? It was Anthony Joseph, because I believe he just came back down the pit lane. No, he did not. Something happened in the 22 from earlier, I think. I don't know, but right now, Pedro Sabato with that beat-up 64 car would be making the dance. Oh, Miles still trying to fight around this 36 and 54 cars. This is Miles, this time nearly brake check in the 54. Sabato right now, the last car in the transfer spot, coming around to 10 laps to go this next time by. Riley Sampson, Owen Miles, next to one another. It's not something you would really want to see here for a lot of these drivers. You go back to quite a few times in FMGTC history where these two have tangled together, as Sampson trying to maneuver to the inside of the 59. Next two corners will be going drivers left in favor of this 59 car. Riley trying to get to the run of the outside of this 59 of Owen Miles, the two most recent winners in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. Owen still fighting hard on the inside, but these two both inside the transfer spots. They run 17th and 18th respectively. Miles, especially with all the trouble that his competition has had so far today, will wisely just back off and lose a spot. He'll go down into the 18th position. Because right now, again, the way things run, you look at the top 5 in points. Owen Miles had a 9-point lead over Bradley Ream. Ream first car out of this race earlier on in the race. Kyle Wood right now out of a transfer spot right now. Started this race in 18th, currently in 23rd after being caught up in the issues earlier on. Bruno Diacomo very slow coming out of the bus stop. Mateus Bento also out of the race. And Russell Blaze has had his issues, but he's currently still in a transfer spot. As of the moment right now, he is in the 18th position, so Miles actually falling from 16th to 17th. So if you're Miles, again, the way you're running right now, you're going to make the dance. And the only thing you're going to have to worry about tomorrow, track position-wise, is Chris Harvey, who's 76 points behind this 59 car. Harvey has been running really well. Again, we talked about it earlier. This car has had some success here in the past at Watkins Glen. Won 2 years ago with Jaden Russell driving that Army Black Knights 8 machine. We'll see what he's able to do tomorrow afternoon for 73 laps around here at Watkins Glen. Philip Torres, Bruno Diacomo, especially Bruno Diacomo, trying to make up for some lackluster results from Tuesday afternoon. Of course, Diacomo started on the pole position for GT Le Mans back at Mosport on Tuesday, ended up wrecking out of the race. James Lawson did not make that race at Mosport. Nathan Stapleton did. In fact, Nathan Stapleton got his best result of the season at Mosport with a third-place run on the bottom rung of the podium. He's looking really strong, just inside the top 10 right now. Eric Monaco looking to make a race for the first time in about 2 months as well, as he's trying to grab a little bit of a beat off the back end of this 97 car. And again, you know, we mentioned it a little bit during qualifying earlier on today, but look at two of the drivers that are currently going to be in the show as of right now for tomorrow afternoon. Zachary Fitzwater and Eric Monaco. Go in about 48 hours time, a little over 48 hours time, back up north to Concord, Massachusetts. Final race of the Duncan Month of Speed, 400 miles at the Coca-Cola Super Speedway for the Sam Adams Firecracker 400. That's going to be a ton of fun from Coca-Cola on Sunday night here on the NESRN. Our first trip to the Coca-Cola Super Speedway under the lights for the first time since 2020. Anthony Joseph will come back down the pit lane. I know both these drivers just looking to try and get things going here on the 250th birthday of America tomorrow, just trying to make this race. Again, Fitzy started on the outside pole and currently runs in 4th right now. Would be a solid starting spot for tomorrow. Monaco a little further back in the 11th position, right behind Nathan Stapleton. But, you know, Monaco has just run really well again. Again, you look at the point standings again. He fell back 4 spots after failing to make the race at Mosport. He's currently 202 points behind Owen Miles. That's only a race and a half worth of points. If Owen Miles runs into trouble today, doesn't make the grid, and something happens to Chris Harvey. You know, Angel Gutierrez, he has fallen back in the 90, I believe. That's the driver that also had some issues there. Trying to find where this 90 car is. I don't know, and Sarah Taylor has gone around right in front of the leaders. Second time today that A&W 45 has gone around. Actually, Angel Gutierrez is running in 3rd. Logan Williams around right in front of everybody, back in front. Able to grab a gear. Just put it in 1st, Logan. Put it in 1st. You're all good. He's going to fall from running in 5th down into the 14th spot. It doesn't look like there's any damage. Maybe a little bit of damage on the left-hand side of that Cytomax Muscle Milk Jaguar, but other than that, he's still going to remain in a transfer spot for the time being. Somebody's down the pit lane. It's Reggie Fogelman with 7 to go. You know what? I think we're going to be seeing drivers try and make a 2-tire pit stop work as Angel Gutierrez back down the pit lane. We're going to see these guys come down twice and just try and gain some more track position. John Andrews stayed out for an additional lap, and you know what? I think with these guys coming down, just getting fresh rubber again, you know, these guys are going to have to start the race tomorrow on these tires. So you know what? 7 laps to go in the race. Why don't you come down? Put on some 4 fresh tires and make things happen here and just set yourself in as good of a position tomorrow as you can. Andrews did stay out, so he's going to have probably 1 lap fresher tires. Fitzwater stayed out. Same thing with Jaden Russell, and we'll check back in here. Any changes down in our transfer spot? It is still, actually now it is Taylor Lay as Pedro Sabato was put an additional lap down. John Andrews down the pit lane for what will be his final pit stop of the afternoon. Zachary Fitzwater will stay out. Looks like we aren't going to have any takers for the time being yet, but I guarantee you that once these guys figure out what these leaders are doing, they're going to want as big of an advantage on the pit lane as humanly possible. Again, because with all the amount we're sliding these tires around here at Watkins Glen, you are going to want fresh tires tomorrow as you can possibly get. Andrews off of the pit lane. Reggie Fogelman will zoom on by thanks to the undercut. Angel Gutierrez scooting on by, coming around to 6 laps to go. It'll be 5 to go. We got some contact. Zachary Fitzwater upside down, running into it there. Headlong through danger was Kasumi Takashi. Philip Torres is also in it. Takashi destroyed. Fitzwater went upside down. Nearly somebody went barreling through there. It was Owen Miles who nearly caught a piece. Chris Harvey running into the issues. That was the fear of just chicanery happening late in this race. Zachary Fitzwater, Kasumi Takashi, you can probably add Philip Torres to that list of drivers that are likely not going to be racing tomorrow afternoon. That for GM Goodwrench Corvette billowing smoke out the back end. That'll be 3 more cars going to the garage area. Everybody will be put up some more spots. Have to see if anybody else will come down after that. Sarah Taylor down the pit lane. Again, you know what? She's figuring, why not? There's a really solid chance it's 45 if we get at least one more accident that takes out some more drivers. That 45 car is going to be racing tomorrow afternoon after just a horrible start to this race earlier on. No, she's retiring from the race. So I believe she was the one that ran headlong into danger. Drove in. Sarah Taylor will retire. Zachary Fitzwater will retire, as will Kasumi Takashi. That might be 9 retirees in total. And that might make the qualifying section of this race a little bit of a moot point. We got less than 5 to go, and Bruno Giacomo being scored as the leader. He has not come down the pit lane. Right now, Fitzwater and Takashi still being scored as on the racetrack. They have not retired. It's ultimately a camshaft that took out Philip Torres. I believe everybody that's going to be on the lead lap right now might be good to the end. I don't know if Anthony Joseph is going to be able to make it. It's a tough break for Zachary Fitzwater. We're talking about he was running in 4th. It was going to be one of the drivers, one of the 2 that'll be racing for the Duncan Month of Speed on Sunday afternoon. Owen Miles down the pit lane, just makes it in. Bruno Giacomo remaining out. I believe he has only made 1 pit stop so far. I think he's just saying, damn the torpedoes, let's just get another pole. But again, you get the pole position here, you're not going to be able to change tires coming into tomorrow's race. John Andrews trying to see where that 3 machine ended up. He was the first car to come down the pit lane. He's the first one on, actually Reggie Fogelman is 13th. John Andrews currently behind him, as we did have some more. No, we just had 1 or 2 more takers down the pit lane. Well, these qualifying races have certainly shaken things up a lot. As you look at the 9 drivers that, based on times, would fail to qualify. You know, you look at Taylor Lay. They were the last one. Taylor Lay and Reggie Fogelman were the last drivers on the row. And right now, Lacey Fogelman currently somewhere. Nathan Stapleton and Riley Sampson get together going through turn 8. That's right in front of Russell Blaze and company. That was the battle for 8th there between the 36 and the 97. Doesn't look like there's too much damage on that 97 car. Sam Canopi said for Riley Sampson, who just needs to labor around for only a handful of more laps, just about gets into the outside wall. With 3 laps to go, the last thing you want to do is knock yourself out in any stretch of the imagination, and everybody besides Anthony Joseph that's still on track right now would be making the Firecracker at the Glen. Anthony Joseph just needs 1 more retiree for him to make the dance. Right now, James Lawson now scored as the race leader. He has gotten around this 12 machine. But again, not a whole lot of cars coming down the pit lane to take advantage of putting on fresher rubber for tomorrow. And how would this be for James Lawson to win a pole position here in the Budweiser 02 in that Toyota Camry? Put himself in a really good spot to try and get the job done tomorrow afternoon. Does he have to come down? Is he going to come down again? Talked about Lacey Fogelman. She qualified in 27th earlier. Actually, so it will be Anthony Joseph and Roberto Crown Jr. would be the 2 cars that would have been the first ones knocked out. Kyle Wood out of the pit lane. Thanks to the chicanery happening behind him, looks like he's going to be starting in 19th tomorrow, the way things run. And officially, the last driver in would be the 64 of Pedro Sabato. would be 21st. Unless we get some more chaos later on in the running. 2 laps to go here in the first of 2. Holy Smoked meets Duels at Watkins Glen. James Lawson still leading. A good battle for second between Eric Monaco and Bruno Diacomo. Come on, Eric, just stay behind that 12. Don't do anything dumb. He's going to go wide off the corner. And he's just going to baby that car off through the corner, out of the bus stop, out of harm's way. Big run coming for Bruno Diacomo. He wants his second consecutive pole. Trying to drive around on the inside of this O2 machine. It's about 2 car lengths back of James Lawson, going up through the toe. Down the sole for the penultimate time this afternoon. This is going to get close here. With a lap and a half remaining at Watkins Glen. And Eric Monaco has gotten back into this battle, swinging off turn 8 for the penultimate time. Roberto Crown Jr., Taylor Lay, they're down the pit lane, but again, Anthony Joseph is 1 lap down behind these drivers. And I believe that 1 lap is going to make the difference. Meanwhile, the leaders off turn 11 for the penultimate time. James Lawson will see the white flag in the air here one more time around Watkins Glen International. Logan Williams will come down, as will Michael Lewis. Again, all of these cars at this point, as Angel Gutierrez and John Andrews have gotten together. Gutierrez, he was running inside the top 15. I don't know how they're going to score it. Oh, drama. Late in the qualifying races, we got several cars down the pit lane taking advantage of these fresh tires here. Again, most of these guys are going to be making the race. John Andrews will get around. Meanwhile, back up front, here comes Bruno Diacomo. You know what? Their gloves are off. We're going to be battling for the pole. They're side by side for the race lead. Diacomo in the 12, Lawson in the 02. These two get together coming out of turn 8. Eric Monaco is going to be looking to take that spot away. They are still door to door here for just the pole position at Watkins Glen. Diacomo will drive on by. Wide off the corner. They're going to try and stretch it here. Very slow coming out of the 9th corner off towards turns 10 and 11. Does Diacomo have the gas to make it to the end? They'll swing off, and off of turn 11, Diacomo will remain on track. How about 2 consecutive pole positions for this Granger 12? Bruno Diacomo going to be starting up front for the Firecracker at the Glen tomorrow afternoon. And we'll have to see how they score. Angel Gutierrez and Anthony Joseph right now. Gutierrez being scored as 1 lap down. So everybody coming off of the pit lane. Owen Miles with a little bit more damage, but he will make the top 21. The points leader will make it in. Kyle Wood will make it in. Chris Harvey will also make it in. And Angel Gutierrez out of the race. They're not able to patch up that 90. Down the pit lane is Chris Harvey. And he will likely just lose 1 or 2 spots maybe in qualifying. But Anthony Joseph, I believe if Joseph completes this next lap, he's going to end up making the dance here as he comes around off turn 11. We're going to have to see how this is all going to shake out as Joseph crosses the start-finish line. Survey says I believe Angel Gutierrez is going to remain out front. So Gutierrez being scored in 21st out of the race. And Anthony Joseph completed only 20 laps. And it looks like he will be the first one heading home, the only one on track heading home. A valiant effort for that 22 car. Oh boy, we've got a lot to unpack here. We have got a lot to figure out. Several cars head on into the pit wall. That's normal here at Watkins Glen. Bruno Giacomo will be the pole sitter for tomorrow afternoon's race, that we know. But the big thing, Angel Gutierrez and Anthony Joseph, both, trying to figure out how that is scored. So we're going to go back here live. So we're going to go and we're going to figure this out. The game is telling us, as we saw John Andrews spin around, we completely missed that. So Gutierrez, he runs right into the 3 machine. So Gutierrez has only one more lap to complete. He runs into the 3, and he has to be towed back to the pit lane. The thing is, for Gutierrez, his pit stop is beyond the start-finish line, so technically he would start lap 25. So I think that is the designation there, that Gutierrez would have started lap 25. He would have taken the white flag, I believe. Yes, so I believe Gutierrez would have taken the white flag on the lead lap based on when he would be towed back. And Anthony Joseph would not have been able to take the white flag. So there is the explanation why Angel Gutierrez finishes in 21st and Anthony Joseph is being scored in 22nd. That makes a lot more sense. And, Chris Harvey, he retired. I believe he ran out of gas there right at the end, but he's going to be starting in 14th. Well, we're halfway through the qualifying sessions, ladies and gentlemen. We still got GT Daytona to do. That's going to be a lot of fun. But Bruno Giacomo, James Lawson will be on the front row for GT Le Mans later on this afternoon, or for tomorrow afternoon's noon start time. Firecracker at the Glen here, but that'll do it for the GT Le Mans rendition of the Holy Smoke Meets Duels. Coming up here in just a few moments, GT Daytona will get 25 laps of their own here at Watkins Glen International. We'll get you that right here, right now, on your home for the FMGTC, the North American Sim Racing Network.
As, again, you longtime viewers will know at this point, I'm very much an old school racing fan. I like sex being safe and racing being dangerous.
Bourbon sauce. And brown sugar bacon. And Angus steak. And a top bun. This is the nastiest fuck! Barbies, we have the meat.
Get the fuck off the racetrack! You stupid son of a bitch!
And we are back here right at the top of the charts here at Watkins Glen International after an exciting GTLM qualifier for the Holy Smoke Meet Duel number 1 of the afternoon. Bring the GT Daytona cars out on track with 30 of the slower GTDs doing the exact same thing as GTLM. 25 laps will go on the board to see who will be the 21 qualifiers for GT Daytona. Taking a look at the top 10 starters here in GTD, beginning with our pole sitter, the number 99 of Nathan Buchanan, came out of that race, or came into Mosport as the points leader, came out third in the point standings in that Menards number 99 machine. He will start on the pole position alongside the 26 of Dylan Matthews. Second in the point standings, and those two 1-2 to start things off. Logan Alexander will be starting in 4th behind Series champion from last year in 2025, the number 66 Rain-X Dodge Viper of Esteban Lasser. Aaron Abel looking for a solid run here this afternoon. Will be starting in the 6th spot. Lauren Martinez will round out the top 5. Daytona 2.4 champion for GT Daytona. Carson Miller will go to the inside of the 32 of Marcus Glitch. Smet Oskin looking to make the first race in quite some time for the 51 car. He's to the outside of Alexander Rowe. Shakira Takashi, as well as the 93 of Connor Monaco, will round out the starting 10 drivers for the first 5 rows here for the GT Daytona qualifier. Exactly what we saw with the GT Le Mans cars earlier on today. These drivers are going to have to make at least one 4-tire pit stop. Will likely have to make 2 to Try and get some of that fresher rubber towards the end of the race for tomorrow afternoon's 250-mile, 73-lap event here at Watkins Glen. But we'll send things downstairs and get these cars fired up here for the second dual race of the afternoon. After fun one in GTLM, GT Daytona has got a lot to live up for as the command to fire the engines coming up here and right now.
Drivers, start your engines.
Same song, second verse for the second Holy Smoke Meats duel of the afternoon here at Watkins Glen. Just like we saw in the GTLM qualifier, as the field will come to life and head off towards the 90. We'll go back to where our 23rd starter will be on the grid, the number 75 Cohen Trucking Lines Ford Mustang of Rogel Dorn. Just like with Eric Monaco, our current points leader, starts in 23rd here for the qualifier. He's going to have to make his way up through the grid. Right now, Bucky Campbell would be the last driver in, based on his 21st starting position. Of course, 25 laps is a long time here at Watkins Glen. Up through the S's goes the field. Saw the bus stop be the biggest point of contention earlier on this afternoon, but also the exit of turn number 8. What is an interesting piece as well. Rogel Dorn only a 2-point advantage over Dylan Matthews coming into this race. After tomorrow, we're really going to be looking at this championship battle a lot closer in both classes. Of course, Bradley Ream failing to qualify for tomorrow afternoon's Firecracker at the Glen. Same thing with Mateus Bento. Owen Miles will start that race midway through the grid in that 59 car. He will be starting in the 10th spots for GT Le Mans. Of course, we saw quite a few instances of drama earlier on in the GTLM race. For these GT Daytona cars, the biggest thing is staying patient if you're inside the top 21. You don't want to make any dumb moves right off the start. We saw that completely kill the race right from the cradle there for Sarah Taylor, just being a little too aggressive earlier on. You don't want to be way too aggressive. I know everybody wants to start on the pole position. We have to make the race in order to start on pole, and of course to try and win tomorrow afternoon, 7th race of the season. Nathan Buchanan, after a disappointing result on Tuesday afternoon, just looking to make up for it. Dylan Matthews, that second place runner-up finish at Most Sport, trying to take advantage of Rogel Dorn starting deep in the field and potentially not qualifying for the race for tomorrow afternoon's contest here, as the pace car will lead the field towards Taco Bell turn 11. We sent home 9 cars already today from GT Le Mans. We're going to do the same thing with GT Daytona. Heading off towards the Reese's restart zone of the GTD cars. Green flag is out and away. Holy Smoke Meats duel number 2 is off and running here in the Finger Lakes. Rogel Dorn immediately getting aggressive. We said you don't want to do that in that 75 car, going down the low side. Damian Caranco in the middle of 3 wide, on the bottom side of 3 wide. He's trying to make his way north. That is right around the transfer spot for these drivers back at the front of the grid. It's Buchanan, Lasserre, and Dylan Matthews, your top 3, top 5. Logan Alexander and Lauren Martinez going through the bus stop for the first time under speed. Everybody, we got double file going through the bus stop. Marcus Glitch having a slam on the brakes, and Connor Monaco way wide, able to keep that TNT Man 93 machine on course. And everybody able to survive the opening half of the track, and Buchanan first one to lead the field. Their turn number 5. Down to the bottom part of the course as we go past our digger cam over in the tow. Everybody making their way through, up through the sole for the first time under speed. And a great start for everybody so far. Cannon leads them out of turn number 8. Swinging a little wide off the corner there was the 22 as Priya McShane trying to make up for her. Fortunate end of the race on Tuesday afternoon. Ended up finishing 3rd at Most Sport, where she dominated the race, led the most laps. Did gain a lot of spots in the standings, and right now would be one of the drivers that would make the show tomorrow afternoon back at the front. Nathan Buchanan holds himself up to a 5-car length lead over Esteban Lasserre at about half a second over that 66 car. And at the transfer spot, first one out would be Bucky Campbell. He lost 1 spot on the start. He's trying to force his way onto the 21 of Damian Caranco, your pole sitter from Tuesday. To the inside of the 21 he goes, and now Bucky Campbell will be in the show. Rogel Dorn losing 2 spots going through the 90 that time. Dorn does not want to not make this show, especially given how close he has made this championship battle as they go through this bus stop for the second time under speed. A lot calmer of a start than what we saw in GT Le Mans. Not a whole lot of contact, a little 3-wide action here and there, and some fender banging between a couple of cars, but unlike the opening race, everybody has made the opening a lap or two. Lasser trying to draw a bead off the back end of the 99, still about 5 car lengths away from that Menards PPG Paints Mustang. The Dodges starting to make their way north. It looks like there is some rear end damage on the 66, I believe. There is. I believe Logan Alexander may have gotten into the back of Esteban Lasser, probably coming out of the bus stop. We knew that was going to be a trouble spot. Dylan Ebrahimian. The horrible streak of luck continues for this CarQuest 25. Looks like he and Landon Walker were tied up midway through the pack. Ebrahimian's day and weekend may end early here at Watkins Glen after only just a lap and a half. We'll take a look and see what happened. This would now be the 4th consecutive race that Dylan Ebrahimian would miss in that 25 machine. The car that won the championship for GT Daytona with Michael Brown 2 seasons ago. Not what you want in the slightest. Right now, as we go double file, Matt Lagasse and Samet Ozkin making some contact going through the inner loop. They're able to hold on for now, and Lagasse trying not to follow the same path as Ebrahimian right now. Lagasse has not made a race this season. We were talking about it during Mosport qualifying. He's not made a race since the Daytona 2.4. It has been almost exactly 5 months, over 5 months' time since the USA 60 car has been on track, and of course, you would want that to happen here. America's 250th birthday tomorrow. You want to have the Stars and Stripes on track, and he's running pretty well right now. Just outside the top 10, Marcus Glitch currently holds that 10th spot in line. Lagasse 11th, Samet Ozkin, another driver, looking to make his first race in quite some time. I don't think he's made a race since the Papyrus, if memory serves me right. He has not made a race since the Papyrus Motorsports Park, so he's another driver that is looking to not get DNQ'd for the 4th consecutive race, and Lagasse contact with Marcus Glitch. That's one way to complete the pass going through the 90. A little roughhousing there with the 32. Fortunately, they were able to save it. Not as good of a save as we saw earlier from Emily York Watson. But a great save and a great pass by Matt Lagasse. Unfortunately, he is able to keep that car on the road, and right now would be inside the top 10. Aaron Abel in the back of Lauren Martinez. They were battling for 6th at the time, 5th I should say. That might take Aaron Abel completely out of the running. These drivers brake checking coming out of the bus stop has been a very big issue. We saw it with Bradley Ream earlier, and it looks like Aaron Abel, who was on pace for a top 5 finish on Tuesday, had some late race struggles, was caught up in that 3 laps to go accident with Priya McShane. And it looks like that Alcoa 98 Viper might have his day end early on a wrecker. He swings way wide off the corner in 8. He's going to try and drive that Viper back to the pit lane. And some rear end damage on the 00 Victoria's Secret car of Martinez as well. Trying to join her mentor and defending winner of this race for GT Le Mans, John Andrews, on the grid. Abel will come down the pit lane. We'll see if he'll retire. That is going to be a tough pill to swallow. For the driver, currently 4th in points, only 39 points back of Rogel Dorn coming into this event. Dorn still currently on the outside looking in. Actually, he is the last car to transfer in based on this 98 car having issues. We'll see if he'll retire from the event, but that'll move everybody up a peg for the most part, and that will do it. Aaron Abel will fail to make the show. For tomorrow afternoon's Firecracker at the Glen, Lauren Martinez also losing the handling on that 00 machine. The field will traverse around the 25 of Ebrahimian. Stricken 25 machine will at least finish ahead of Aaron Abel. The way things are running right now is Lagasse will move around him. I'll move Carson Miller up a spot, and we'll move everybody up a spot as Martinez now under fire from Chikira Takashi. Chikira trying to join Kasumi on the grid for tomorrow afternoon's race. Both those drivers, development sister drivers to Matthew Hubert. And she's right behind that 00 machine, your Old Spice winner from earlier this season, as a lot of cars swinging wide off the corner. I believe Titan Nicholas may have nicked the wall a little bit. Joseph Wood did nick the wall. He's able to keep it straight. Juan Carlos Espinoza, Robert Mikhailovich, along with Wood and Harrison Fox bringing up the rear. Same thing with the 08, with the 8 machine, I should say, of Daniel Bouchard, trying not to miss his second consecutive race for the all-time winningest driver in the FMGTC Daytona. Damian Karanko has been getting bullied as of recently. That is now the second time that 21 car has been muscled out of the way. That time it was off turn 11. The Screamin' Eagles Harley-Davidson Mustang has been dropped back from 15th all the way down to 19th. The way things run right now, only 2 spots above the cut line. Almost said the trade deadline. The trade cut line. We're not even at the trade deadline. It's the NHL draft here tonight. I don't know why we're talking about trade deadlines. Of course, when we recorded this race, the NHL draft was that night. Congratulations to Gavin McKenna for going to hell, otherwise known as the Toronto Maple Leafs. Karanko started this race towards the relative front of the pack, I believe. Actually, no, he started in 18th, so he's net negative by 1 position right now after rising up a couple of spots right on the start. 6 laps already in the books, and Lauren Martinez has stagnated that 00 car in the 8th position right now. Marcus Glitch into the tire wall with the rear end of that 32, and he is going to lose all sorts of time. Eric Blaze will drive around him. Same thing with Samat Oskin. He's not able to get the drive off of the corner. And Glitch will only surrender 1 spot. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage on the back of that Advocare Mustang. Lagasse looking to get around the 00 of Martinez, and we'll take you on board with the USA 60 car as he's got to run to the inside of the Victoria's Secret 00 car. They're going to bang fenders off of turn 1. Lagasse knows what's at stake. He has missed the last 5 consecutive races. That'll be another spot moved up for the 60 car. He'll move his way on up down the back straightaway. That'll be another spot lost for Lauren Martinez. And the way things are running right now, again, that 00 car is going to have to repair a lot of damage on the pit lane as somebody went around in the back. I believe Esteban Lasair got run over by somebody. It was Robert Mikhailovich and Joseph Wood, Will Parrish, and somebody else, I believe. That was it. Big crash in the back. That's going to end Mikhailovich's hopes of making this race. Joseph Wood destroyed in the 7. Will Parrish dropping back immensely as well. And that'll be some more drivers being fed to the fryer here at Watkins Glen. Robert Mikhailovich will miss his 3rd consecutive race. Actually, just his 2nd consecutive race. He made the race at Mexico City, if memory serves me right. He, in fact, got a 9th place finish at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, but Esteban Lasair, the defending champion, has been holding up these drivers for the better part of the last 2 laps or so. Not sure who he got popped in the rear end by. Definitely by somebody, and Logan Alexander looking to get around this 66 car. Robert Mikhailovich and Juan Carlos Espinoza, that was the other car involved. So that will throw those cars in the garage area, and they will not make tomorrow afternoon's race. And they will have to look ahead to our next race on the calendar here, the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. said we were going to reveal it during this race, and once these guys, Alexander getting way wide through the corner, he is going to lose 4 spots in the span of the bus stop. And Dylan Matthews looking to move underneath the 66 car as they thunder off towards the boot. That's going to be an issue for drivers all afternoon tomorrow. It was going way too hot coming out of the bus stop, hitting that grass, losing all traction, braking too hard, and for some time, we've already seen it a lot here today, ruining the race of the driver right behind them. We saw it with Bradley Ream. We saw it with Aaron Abel. A little bit bigger of an issue with Mikhailovich, Espinoza, Wood, and company. And all this happening right behind the 99 of Nathan Buchanan. Exactly what he wants to see. These drivers mucking around 2.5 seconds behind that Menards Mustang. So that'll move Matthews up 2 spots into the 2nd position, and Logan Alexander will drop them from 3rd all the way down to 6th. With Shakira Takashi putting herself in the gun sights of the 70, or putting the 71 within her iron sights in that Bud Light 46 as she gains a lot of time going through the 90. Matt Lagasse runs in 8th. Eric Blazin 9th, and Lauren Martinez has dropped down to 10th, still a ways away as Connor Monaco and Priya McShane will swap door paint coming off of the 90. 21st on the grid right now belongs to Daniel Bouchard. He would make the show with the 9 drivers that would be out as of right now. Bucky Campbell, Harrison Fox, Will Parrish, who won this race for the NBCS back in 2022. Dylan Abrahamian is 1 lap down. Landon Walker, Joseph Wood. The drivers we do know that are not going to make the show: Robert Mikhailovich, Juan Carlos Espinoza, and Aaron Abel. And just like we saw with Bradley Ream earlier, we didn't really get a chance to mention it earlier in the GTLM race, but Bradley Ream does not like Watkins Glen. I think we can all agree on that. And Aaron Abel might be in that same category as well. Both those drivers, at least here in the FMGTC, have had plenty of issues. Bradley Ream DNFing here at Bradley Ream has failed to finish a single race at Watkins Glen here in the FMGTC. 2 violent accidents over the last couple of years. And in fact, all of his issues have come in or around the bus stop chicane going towards the carousel. And the same thing for Aaron Abel as well. You'll remember that violent flip Aaron Abel had last year in this race. So Matt Oskin, issues for the 51, an engine failure on the Castrol GTX Mustang will effectively take him out of the running as well. He was running in 18th at the time, 14th. And the RNG will strike for the 51 car as well. Another tough break for that driver. Buchanan has gotten around the stricken 7 of Joseph Wood. Much like Sarah Taylor, trying to take advantage of more cars having issues side by side through the bus stop. Carson Miller is going to lose promptly a spot to the 66. He might lose another one to the 71. Alexander not able to get the power off on drivers left going through the carousel, and they'll file back in line right behind your Daytona champion for the 2.4 hours of Daytona. It'll be 15 laps to go already this next time around. Oskin still being towed back to the pit lane, and that will likely be the end of his afternoon. No specific results of the engine failure just yet. Kyler Anderson, rear end damage on that 42. It is a bit ironic, I will say, that these drivers will be able to repair their cars but not be able to change their tires before the race tomorrow afternoon here at Watkins Glen as Harrison Fox goes wide. Kyler Anderson now falls back into the clutches of Bucky Campbell, and that is around the transfer spot. Anderson was in 20th that last time by. He will fall into 21st with Harrison Fox looking to maneuver that HKS number 27 car around the stricken 42 machine. It's been a really rough stretch for Kyler Anderson over those last 2 months. Did not get a chance to race in the last 2 races. It's looking like he's going to fall outside the top 21 after this. Will Parrish trying to make up some ground after being involved in that early accident with Espinoza, Wood, and Mikhailovich. Meanwhile, Lauren Martinez continuing to drop like a stone. Ryan Durrani moving to the inside of the 00, and he just taps the brakes. Damian Karanko nearly running in the back of Titan Nicholas, who has been plowed a couple of times. Durrani not being rear-ended by the 93 of Monaco. Connor trying to join his brother Eric on the grid tomorrow afternoon. Just like we talked about Lauren trying to join John Andrews on the grid. And Eric Blaze trying to join Russell Blaze on the grid so far as well. Meanwhile, all these drivers have been rubber banding between the 3rd and you got to go to the 9th position here for car number 9. Ryan Durrani trying to swing around that stricken 00 Victoria's Secret Viper of Martinez. She has got no rear end downforce on that automobile. And she has fallen all the way down to 13th to where she was running in 5th before the time of the accident between her and Aaron Abel. Connor Monaco might try and sniff a spot away as down the pit lane. We've got takers here on lap number 12. Eric Blaze, as well as the 32 of Marcus Glitch going for the undercut. Now remember from the GTLM race earlier on today, the undercut worked really well for track position, but it did not work well for drivers trying to stretch things to the end. Again, these guys have got smaller fuel cells, which did contribute to the cars coming down, along with just trying to take some gas or trying to put on fresher tires. Carson Miller trying to get around that 7 machine of wood. Kyler Anderson down the pit lane. Again, these guys will likely come down one more time at the end of the race within the last 5 or so laps, I would gauge. Just to put on fresher rubber, and the longer you stretch things out, the longer and longer you're going to be able to get to the end here. And this battle for the points position between Buchanan and the 26 of Dylan Matthews, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest to see these drivers try and stretch things out to maybe lap 13 or 14. So I think if I'm Nathan Buchanan, I'm staying out one more time and then coming down this next time by. He's going to swing wide off the corner. Dylan Matthews, I believe, is coming down the pit lane, and Buchanan will come down as well. Nathan Buchanan down the pit lane. Dylan Matthews down the pit lane. It looks like it's going to be feed-in time here on lap 12, directly at the halfway point. Joseph Wood will get a lap back, but it looks like the majority of the field will come down right at the midway point through this qualifying race. Rogel Dorn trying to sneak his way to the inside. We have a couple of cars getting relatively close to the pit wall. None of them pulling a Bryce Egan pit lane accident like we saw beforehand, but it looks like everybody will come down and split this race directly in half. Led by the 99 of Nathan Buchanan, who has led all 12 laps of this event so far. Again, they should be able to do about 25 to 30 tomorrow afternoon. No damage being repaired on the 88 of Alexander Rowe. He will come off in second. A very long stop for Dylan Matthews. She will finally come out and away, losing about 7 spots in the process, side by side off the pit lane, as Logan Alexander will move around Shakira Takashi. Right as Eric Blaze will storm past everybody on hotter tires. Have to see where Marcus Glitch came out in relation to everybody. He should be in about the 7th or 8th spot, I would gauge, as everybody is on fresher BF Goodrich's. Lagacy side by side with Takashi going through the corner, and Lagacy will shunt on the brakes coming out of the bus stop. Blaze nearly in the back end of the 72. Well, that's one way to try and corral your camera. So we go on board with your Mexico City winner from 2 months ago. Drawing a bead on the back end of Miller. Might have a run to the inside. He'll have the preferred line going through 8th, but Miller will have the next 2 corners, and breaking way late there was Blaze. He might go wide. He does go wide. Miller a little bit wider. And a textbook pass on hotter tires for Russell Blaze. He'll get around that 72 car for about the 5th position, I believe. Buchanan will remain out front. It was an engine camshaft issue for Samad Oskin. That puts him in the garage area, along with Robert Mikhailovich, Juan Carlos Espinoza, and Aaron Abel. And a bad 2-week stretch here, bad week stretch for Aaron Abel, with at least a top 10 finish at Most Sport, I believe, for the 98. He finished just outside the top 10. He finished in 11th when he was running top 5 all day. And he is going to get 30th place points this weekend. Now that things have calmed down a bit, I think we can finally go ahead and reveal what our next venue might be as, well, this is the battle. Actually, this is the battle for the top 20 right now, currently. I mean, these two do get together. That is going to be the battle for the transfer spot. That's 20th and 21st right now, side by side through the bus stop. Both of them with some rear end damage. I would not recommend. And Kyler Anderson shoved off track. Into the wall he goes. I didn't recommend that, guys. And nobody ever listens to me. So Kyler Anderson will join Bradley Ream as likely not making the show tomorrow when Will Parrish says, "That's exactly what I needed. Thank you very much, guys." That's tough. Number one thing we said in the pre-race show, don't make any stupid aggressive maneuvers. And we saw that happen coming from a mile away, unfortunately. Anderson still just trying to get away under his own power. It's not been a good last 2 month stretch for him either. But now, since we got that out of our system, Buchanan opening things up wide. A 3.5 second advantage over Alexander Rowe and Russell Blaze, or Eric Blaze, I should say. All the drivers that are out of the race will have another chance to not only qualify their way in, but also race their way in at our next race upcoming here in the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship. We talked about how next race of Clawhammer is now going to be off the table. So drum roll, please, of where we're going to be releasing things as Shakira Takashi will maneuver around the 71. It's kind of fitting that we're focusing on a Ford here as well as a Dodge. Next race will be the oval debut of the FlowMaster Grand Touring Championship as we go up north to the Irish Hills of Michigan for our 8th race of the season from the Michigan International Speedway. That will be replacing Clawhammer, as you know what? Series is already chaotic. Why not make it more chaotic with an actual oval? We were close enough with the Daytona 2.4 layout. Let's throw an actual oval on the schedule, and let's just make this as IndyCar as possible. You can hear the rear tires squealing on that 59 car. Getting the actual name, it's going to be the US 300K from the Michigan International Speedway. And that'll be taking place on August 8th right here on the NASRN, 300 kilometers at the Michigan International Speedway. That'll be 186 miles for 93 laps around Michigan. That is going to be a fun one up in the Irish Hills for race number 8 of the season. Of course, everything after that as Legacy swings wide out of the bus stop. He'll lose some time on the 71 and the 46, but to say that we don't have the most diverse schedule in NR 2003 is an understatement. Now adding the great track of Michigan and that specific version of Michigan, you know, we figured out how to dial things back a little bit in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, and we ran a couple of test races at Michigan. We figure, you know what, why the heck not? Let's throw an oval on there. And these drivers having to drive through some of the toughest conditions in all of NR 2003, and again, that is the only schedule change for this year and the rest of the season. But, you know, the tracks after that are known for their craziness. We've got Thornton coming up just about 3 weeks after that track for the third ever Thornton 13. That's going to be our Labor Day race. And then after that, we got the race at Bridgehampton. And Autumn Hill and Riverside will round things out. And of course, We talked about how the drivers will be able to qualify their way into the US 300K. That'll be our third race of the season where we will have qualifying races. Of course, the fourth one being the California Christmas Classic at the Riverside International Raceway, I should say, will be the third and fourth races where we'll have qualifying races to decide the grid. And after that, it's right back to the top of the pecking order as Legacy nearly taking the back end off the 46. Shakira Takashi has really struggled on these last couple of laps as we're already down to 9 laps to go, 8 to go this next time by, and Nathan Buchanan just running an absolute clinic right now. Has dropped 0.2 of a second to Alexander Rowe. So Rowe has been closing in on this 99, but doesn't look like anybody has any answers for our pole sitter. Dylan Matthews, she dropped back immensely all the way down to 9th after being in second for the majority of this race, right behind Priya McShane's number 22 car. But that is just how the pole position can really benefit you here at a track at Watkins Glen, especially going into a qualifying race like we've got today. Even though it didn't benefit Bradley Ream all that much as he was the first car knocked out of the race. 26 going to have a good run on the 22 going down the front straightaway. Watch out for these guys to maybe get together in the 90. Watch out, gals. Don't swing wide. And good pass on the inside for Dylan Matthews. But ideally, once you get this pole position, you're able to really drive away from everybody else now. Historically, the GT Daytona drivers have not been, or whoever starts on pole in GT Daytona, typically at Watkins Glen is going to have a little bit of a rough day. Again, you're starting right behind the slower end of the field, and Dylan Matthews gets turned into the outside wall. She got dumped by Priya McShane out of turn, out of the bus stop in that 26 car. We talked about championship implications with Aaron Abel. Championship implications now striking Dylan Matthews. Going from second and having a very bad pit stop in the 26 to getting dumped after running in the 9th spot, taking the 8th spot away from Priya McShane. You go down right now. It's, the 20 of Will Parrish, currently last one in the show. Titan Nicholas had to get some extensive repairs on the pit lane, and he has dropped 7 seconds behind Will Parrish. Is Dylan Matthews going to have to come down the pit lane, and she might drop a lap here. If she's going to have to come down, she is going to be very slow, is not going to have a whole lot of rear end momentum or rear end downforce. She will stay out for now. Dropping down to the, as Priya McShane is down the pit lane, that might be the end of the day for her. They're going to try and repair that 22 car. I think they're just going to rip the hood right off and send her back out. That's exactly what they'll do. Lauren Martinez down the pit lane. It looks like there might be some trouble. No, there's not trouble on that 00 car. Just trying to make some more repairs to get her back out. Now Titan Nicholas will shift out to the transfer spot as Dylan Matthews will remain on track to the inside of Bucky Campbell, nearly sending that Bardal 1 car sideways. She's going to break, nearly got railroaded by the 93 as Connor Monaco looking to blow past everybody in that TNT Man 93 Mustang. Mid-pack racing in GT Daytona has always been so much fun. And meanwhile, Alexander Rowe, that last time by, he did gain a lot of time on Nathan Buchanan. I think he just lost it with a very bad exit of the bus stop that previous time by. Joseph Wood down the pit lane as we come around to 6 laps to go in our second qualifying heat of the afternoon. And these holy smoked meats duels have really provided us with some holy cow moments. Watkins Glen pulling absolutely no punches. It doesn't matter what version of this legendary track we go to. It is always going to be so much fun. And that's exactly what we're seeing here today. Buchanan reopening things out by 0.2 of a second over the 88 of Alexander Rowe. We have seen some cars coming back down the pit lane for a second time. Saw that with Landon Walker come down the pit lane for a second time. And I believe there is some front end damage on Nathan Buchanan. Don't see any on the front end of that Better Call Saul Viper of Rowe. Buchanan definitely ran into somebody, and now Priya McShane, somebody, I believe it was Lauren Martinez that came down the pit lane. She fell down outside the transfer spot, and McShane without a hood. Currently in the transfer spot by about 20 seconds over the 00 of Martinez. This would be a really bad shame of just not being able to make the event after starting inside the top 10. Landon Walker, tough afternoon for him in the 18. Dylan Abrahamian in the 25. He's just has not had any luck ever since just barely being edged out of that Papyrus race. We'll go back to where Rogel Dorn is in the 75. He has been, I don't want to say the Q word, but he has been running well. Got passed by Marcus Glitch. Actually, Marcus Glitch lost a lot of spots, so he's going to be remaining in the 11th position with 5 to go. That's all he needs to do. Kiss principle. It's all you got to do if you're in this position. And Dylan Matthews having her issues. Aaron Abel is not going to make the event. Taking a look at other drivers. Again, Nathan Buchanan has been dominating here. Buchanan only behind by 25 positions, but, you know, the actual race itself of Watkins Glen is a lot different than these qualifying races. Again, the actual race is more than triple the distance of these qualifiers, about triple the distance. It's just shy of triple the distance at 73 laps. And we're going to be seeing pretty much just a straight marathon for that race. With 2, potentially 3 pit stops in order, depending on where drivers will come down for strategy. But Buchanan just on rails right now ever since the drop of the green flag. He doesn't have any lap traffic in front of him. Dylan Ibrahimi in about 30 seconds. Make that just 20 seconds in front of the 99. And he's already a lap down in the 25. Are we going to see anybody try and come back down the pit lane? We are. Eric Blaze back down the pit lane. He and Marcus Glitch were on the same strategy. And Blaze, he is going to be putting on 4 fresh BF Goodrich tires here late in the running. Where does he come out in relation? Marcus Glitch will come down the pit lane. Glitch, did he go around? He was very behind that 9 car. Where will he come out in relation? There is Lauren Martinez. Glitch will come out, so these drivers will be well ahead of the 00. Lauren just needs one driver to be knocked out of the race. It could be Dylan Matthews with how slow she has been. She's already dropped out of the top 10. Esteban Lacer, who started on the outside pole, he has dropped back immensely. He's only made 1 pit stop in the 66 today, but he is currently somewhere on the board. Currently in 18th. Make that 17th as he was able to go, make that 16th, I should say. He was able to get around both the 32 and the 27 cars. Right behind Matthews, coming down through the heel. And he will be able to break even later. They're going to make it. Another spot loss for Dylan Matthews, but her main point right now just trying to stay ahead of that 22. 3 laps to go. Nathan Buchanan will remain out. Again, he should be able to make it to the end based on that single stop that he had. Do we have any more takers down the pit lane? We do not. Dylan Matthews will remain out despite the rear end damage on the UPS Mustang. Harrison Fox will look to the inside of the 26 around the corner, looking for the slide job, and Dylan is just going to give as much room as possible, knowing she's got a really big cushion, but cannot afford any chicanery. That pit stop decision for Eric Blaze will drop him all the way to 18th, right in front of the 41. Same thing with the 32, as Marcus Glitch being very, very, very close for comfort when it comes to this pit strategy of coming down here late. Buchanan back to surrendering a 2.87 second lead, a two and a half second lead on the 88. I think that's going to rubber band back up in favor of Buchanan, who will take 2 laps to go this next time around. I think there's something wrong on the 32. I don't see anything on the chat sheet, but he has not been able to pull away. And now Daniel Bouchard, trouble for the 8. That's what Lauren Martinez absolutely needed, as Daniel Bouchard ran into somebody. Not sure who he ran into. He was running behind Damian Karanko. I don't see the 21. There's the 21. He's heading down the pit lane. Daniel Bouchard was in 11th, and that is going to knock him out. And he is going to miss his 2nd consecutive race. That is so heartbreaking for the Ottawa Ontarian. His 2 home tracks. In fact, he's going to miss his 3rd consecutive race. That is a tough pill to swallow, as Karanko out and away, just taking a splash of fuel to make it to the end. But that will likely move Lauren Martinez, barring any issues. There's Martinez around the 8, and Lauren Martinez with a stricken 00 car will move on up. Inside the top 21, Bouchard's day will end with a broken engine. Now can Landon Walker take advantage of any chicanery happening. Glitch surrendering that spot to Priya McShane. They're sideways, and McShane will maneuver around that 32 car. Back to the top of the grid. It has been nothing but cruise control for this man right here. The development driver to Caleb Rose will take the white flag lap. 3.5 miles remain at Watkins Glen for Nathan Buchanan. Landon Walker is down the pit lane. It was a piston failure for Daniel Bouchard, and Damian Karanko has been given a black flag. Karanko being displayed a black flag. He's to the inside of the 42, and he might. I'm not sure if that black flag was from earlier when he came down the pit lane for just a stop and go, and now we got cars down the pit lane. With on the white flag lap, the 93 of Connor Monaco, Harrison Fox are in the pit lane. Same thing with Will Parrish in the 20 machine. Back around through here, Landon Walker has been put another lap down by the 99 and the 88. Matt Lagasse running in 6th, half a lap away from making his first race since late January on the high banks of Daytona. Dylan Ebrahimian very slow. It doesn't look like he's going to be put a lap down. Around turn number 8, just 3 turns remaining for Nathan Buchanan. Saw what happened to that 99 car last week or earlier this week on Tuesday. Knew that he was going to have a chip on his shoulder after losing the points lead. I think he's got the whole potato on his shoulder as coming off turn 11. Absolutely perfect in qualifier number 2. 25 for 25. Nathan Buchanan is going to sit on the pole position for tomorrow afternoon's Firecracker at the Glen for GT Daytona. How about this? Matt Lagasse bearing the red, white, and blue, the stars and stripes of America, will make his first race in 7 months' time in the 60. Rogel Dorn will make the event. He'll start in 9th. Bucky Campbell will round out the top 10. After all of that action, Dylan Matthews, who started this qualifier in the second spot, will limp that UPS Freight Cobra home to a 12th place finish. She is in the show. Damian Karanko was displayed the black flag, but he should be in. I believe he is. Trying to find where that 21 car is on the pylon. He's going to end up in 15th. Lauren Martinez, as everybody else will cross the line out of the final corner. Lauren Martinez. Actually, I believe Titan Nicholas might be the 21st qualifier after all that. He is in 21st. Lauren Martinez with a top 20. Nicholas just trying to lumber. He's out of gas. But that transponder is going to get across the start-finish line, and Titan Nicholas will round out the 21 cars on the grid for tomorrow afternoon's Firecracker at the Glen for GT Daytona. What an absolute performance out of Nathan Buchanan. Didn't look back whatsoever after the green flag dropped. And he wins his qualifier here in the 99 car. Alexander Rowe will start on the outside pole for GT Daytona. Carson Miller, Logan Alexander, Chikira Takashi, and the 60 of Matt Lagasse as running that car and destroying it. He's going to get a new one tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Everybody's just going to run right into the pit wall, and that will do it here for our second qualifying race of the afternoon. Well, we've had quite the day here at Watkins Glen with the drama during qualifying time trials earlier on this morning, and of course the Holy Smoked Meats Duels providing their fair share of chaos here at Watkins Glen International. Nathan Buchanan gets the job done here at WGI. He will be your pole sitter for tomorrow afternoon's race. Titan Nicholas just barely made it to the end, limped that 41 car to the end, and he will be the last starter. The 9 drivers that'll be knocked out of the event: Landon Walker, Joseph Wood, Dylan Ibrahimian, Kyler Anderson, Daniel Bouchard, Samat Oskin, Robert Mikhailovich, Juan Carlos Espinoza, and Aaron Abel. The 9 drivers going home, and we'll look ahead to our next race at the Michigan International Speedway. For some of those drivers, they'll be racing on Sunday night in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series for race number 22 of the season for the MBCS. The 21 drivers here for GT Daytona will join the other 21 drivers for GT Le Mans for a full 42-car grid here for tomorrow afternoon's 73-lap event at Watkins Glen International for the 250 miles here at Watkins Glen for the 3rd ever running of the Firecracker at the Glen here at Watkins Glen. But that is going to wrap up our afternoon and our entire day coverage here at Watkins Glen International. Tomorrow afternoon at noon Eastern Time, on the 250th birthday of the United States of America, we go racing and celebrate America the only way we know how to here on the NASRN. But that's going to do it here for today's race. Today's races and qualifying sessions on behalf of everybody from the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Watkins Glen for now. Be back here at high noon Eastern tomorrow on the 250th birthday of the United States of America for race number 7 of the 2026 season, the FMGTC, here at Watkins Glen for the Firecracker at the Glen. We'll see y'all tomorrow afternoon. Have a good night. Enjoy and go ahead and pregame here for the 4th. It's going to be a blast here in the Finger Lakes.